How's it going, everybody? It's Riley's Redzone here, back with another NFL video, and the weekly picks are back for this season. The NFL regular season starts on Thursday, so starting now every week, we'll have the weekly picks for every game every week. We're also in the future going to bring back the guest pickers and potentially more this season. So for this week, it's just going to be me making the selections. We have a little bit of new formatting on the screen. Let me know in the comments any suggestions to approve always. And with that said, let's get started talking about this week of football. It's back. We're going to start by talking about the Lions and the Chiefs. That's our kickoff matchup this weekend. Well, kind of, it's on Thursday. The Lions kind of sneak into this. I think a lot of people wouldn't have expected them in a kickoff slot, but they are a team that's, on the rise, potentially looking to take a step up this season. And of course, we have our reigning Super Bowl champion Chiefs here. A couple key notes for this game. I think that this could be a close one. There are a couple key factors and key players I think will impact the outcome of this game for sure. There's a couple. It's really going to come down to defense to me. There's a couple options on offense that each team can take advantage of, but if they can't and the defense can take advantage of that, they may come out victorious. For the Chiefs, I don't see a solution to stopping Travis Kelce from the Lions defense, so they need to get him involved, and if you're the Lions, you need to find out a best way to defend him. As on paper, looking at their matchups, I don't see any threat to him both in the linebacker and safety rooms to really have that be something that could potentially stop them. So I think Travis Kelce will be key for the Lions. If they're going to get this game going, I think the X factor will be Amon-Ra St. Brown offensively. The Chiefs corners, we've said they've been a weakness for a while. They maybe still are, but specifically, I don't have a lot of trust outside of St. Brown on the Browns receivers. They have Marvin Jones, what's left of him, and then they also have Josh Reynolds at this point because Jameson Williams is still on suspension. The last thing I want to talk about in this game is going to be the Chiefs' defensive line is depleted, obviously. Right now, Chris Jones does not have a contract done. They don't know what they're doing there. So they're currently kind of lacking some depth on the defensive line. And the Lions, I think, are going to look to incorporate a new run game into their offense with their two new backs, Gibbs and Montgomery. But I really am interested to see how they're going to balance the pass and the run because Goff has been shown he can still throw the ball around, but I also think that running is going to be a key piece of their new offense. So Chiefs are favored by 6.5. I think that's about reasonable because I think this game will either be a blowout and the Lions can't stop the Chiefs defensively, or it's going to be very, very close because they can, and this will come down to a last possession. I'd say, depending on how, I'm interested to see who steps up for the Chiefs at wide receiver. Looks like Kadarius Toney's ready to go, but will it be him or maybe an X factor like Sky Moore who steps in there? So I'm going to go with the Chiefs in this matchup. Second matchup of the week we're going to talk about is the Panthers and the Falcons. The Falcons are given 3.5 points at home as the favorites. It's interesting here, two teams that are kind of looking to maybe they have a chance to win this division, but I see them as kind of mid-tier teams. Both have some explosive rookies on offense, which we'll see the debut of, specifically Bryce Young for the Panthers in his first game. I'll be interested to see what receivers as well there make some plays, as Adam Thielen I think will still be a threat in the red zone, but besides that, seeing if it's Chark, Mingo, Marshall or Chenault besides that, as well as for the Falcons, as Desmond Ridder takes the snaps for them at quarterback. They have Drake London as the clear wide receiver one. Is he going to make a huge step up this year? And outside of that, they maybe have Mac Hollins, Kadero Hodge. Not a ton of proven stuff there either. But they do have Bijan Robinson at running back, and as well as Tyler Algier and Cordell Patterson behind him. So I see that as something they should maybe use because I personally have not seen enough from Desmond Ridder yet to really know if he's the future. So I'll be interested to see whether they work the run or the pass here. But this is kind of just a feeling game. On paper, I could see this going either way. But I'm going to take the upset here, the underdog, as you see in this graphic. We're bringing it back for this year. I'm going to take the Panthers on the road as underdogs here. I just think that they have an upside that this team will either be in the playoff race with 8 or 9 wins. Maybe they'll only end up with 5 or 6, but I have a good feeling about them, although on paper this game could go either way. So this one will be close. The next one, I'm not surprised the Bengals are the favorites. I am surprised by the amount. 2 points seems interesting for a team that was, has been so close to winning a championship in the past few years. But then again, on paper, the Browns are stacked, specifically on the defensive line. I don't know if Cincinnati has an answer offensive line-wise. That will be something to watch, but I really think the X factor, the make or break for this Browns team, both this game and the whole season, is Deshaun Watson. Is he going to return to that Houston Texan form that they traded all those picks for, or is he going to look like he did at the end of last season, where he just was still not in it there? This team, on paper, with all the pieces they brought in, looks very, very good roster-wise. That's why they're only 2-point underdogs here at home. But I think it's going to come down to Watson, and I just don't have the faith this week. I'm going to stick with the Bengals here. Could see this being close, though, for sure. It's all going to come down to how Watson performs. So that's what I'm going to go with the Bengals. But Browns, with some other teams in their division, might take a step up this year. Could be a close one. The Jaguars are 4.5-point favorites against the Colts. Colts could be sneaky. I like Anthony Richardson, but I don't know what they have going around him. I mean, Jonathan Taylor's situation, unresolved. Zach Moss is going to be hurt. They're going to start Deion Jackson this week, the way it seems. The Jaguars ended last season really, really well. I think they'll probably end up with a similar win total. I could see the Colts being a scrappy team here, but I'm going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're 4.5-point favorites. I like Trevor Lawrence in this offense. I'm very interested to see how Calvin Ridley will work into this offense as well, if that kind of puts them over the top. Texans, Ravens. Ravens, like the Browns in the AFC North, looking to take a step up. I like the Ravens roster a ton. I'll say this about the Texans. They have the right idea going for how to build upon the future, but they just don't have it right now. They have a great core. I talked about it in the predictions video. With Stroud, Anderson Jr., still could get something out of Stingley. They have a lot to go there, but as of right now, I just see too many holes still in the defense. And offensively, I don't know who's going to be their top receiver. It might be Nico Collins. It might be somebody else. But I see some question marks there. Ravens, I'm really excited to see what they do offensively. I think they're going to pass the ball a little bit more. Run game's still their thing with the strengths they have with Lamar Jackson and J.K. Dobbins. But I think that passing the ball might be more part of their offense with Todd Monken coming in here. Very interested to see who that top receiver is, though, in this offense. Is it going to be OBJ coming back from his injuries? Is it the rookie Zay Flowers? Is it Bateman coming back from some injuries as well? Bucs, Vikings. I just don't know if the Bucs have it specifically. I mean, Baker's an all right quarterback, but he has to be one of the bottom ones as of right now. And I feel bad because I think Evans and Godwin are still a great duo. Hopefully Evans still gets that 1,000 yards receiving to keep his streak going, but on paper, I just have to like the Vikings in this matchup. I'm going to like teams over the Bucs a majority of the time this season. I just see a lot of question marks, as well as when we had the injury to Ryan Jensen. It just makes their depleted offensive line even worse. I basically have to go with the Vikings here. It's not even as much of what the Vikings bring as I just don't know about the Bucs right now until I see it. The Vikings, we'll see how they involve Madison as a lead running back. Do they work Ty Chandler in there? We'll see. But at home, I'll take them in that matchup. Titans and Saints. I think the Saints are going to take a step up this year. I think that with Carr and Olave, Michael Thomas coming back, this team is an upgraded squad. And similar to the Bucs, Titans I just need to see more of. If they lean in on Derrick Henry, they'll be fine. But I don't know about Tannehill at this point in their career. I think that defensively their corners are a struggle, and that is the wide receivers are the Saints' strength. So I think that that will be a potential problem for them on Sunday. We'll see how they work DeAndre Hopkins into this offense and passing the ball, but I'm going to go with the Saints in that matchup. Steelers and Niners, very interesting close spread. You know, the Steelers always are good with Mike Tomlin. Could they take that next step up this year? It's all going to depend on Kenny Pickett. Does he take that step? It really is, because otherwise their defense looks really solid. I do have a lot of questions about their offensive line, though, and that is a problem when you're going to face Nick Bosa and Fred Warner and company on the 49ers defense this Sunday. Brock Purdy looks to be the starting quarterback for the Niners. He might be good for health. If that is true, have McCaffrey, Kittle, Samuel Ayuk in that offense. I'm going to go with them. I think it will maybe depend on who defensively makes a bigger stand between Bosa or Watt, but I think that I'm going to go with the Niners in this one. Can understand the close spread, though. And the Cardinals are like the AFC version of the Bucs, where for this next matchup, I have no choice but to go with the Commanders here. Sam Howell, we haven't seen a ton of him. I liked him coming out of North Carolina. I think it's smart for them just to go with him and see what happens. Is he the future quarterback? With Bieniemy now on offensive coordinator, we'll see how they kind of work the explosiveness with McLaurin, Dotson, and then how they use the running backs. Do they run it with Robinson, throw it to Gibson maybe is what I'm expecting. But the Cardinals' defense is just not it. They just don't have much besides Budda Baker right now that we've seen to really be trustable. And Josh Dobbs is a fine quarterback, but they don't have an answer until Kyler Murray gets back. I don't know what they're going to do. On paper, I have to just pick the Commanders here. Don't know what else to do in this situation. I could see the Cardinals playing it close, but I have to pick against them in this situation. Packers-Bears. I think it's going to be a close one. This could go either way. Two teams that might be in the race. I think all four teams in that division might be in the race for it, but the Bears, I just need to see a little bit more of it actually being done. I love them getting DJ Moore. I think he's a stud receiver. I do think Justin Fields will take a step up this season, but I need to see just a little bit more before I really jump on that train. And the Packers, although they lose Rodgers, and that was huge, Jordan Love still might be a capable quarterback, and as well as defensively, I think I just trust them more than what the Bears have so far. The Bears did a complete rehaul, which is great. I think they will be in contention, but I'm just feeling an upset on this one. I'm going to take that. I like to throw in a few this week because you can't pick all the favorites every game, and this is really a coin flip type of game. I'm going to go with the Packers and company on offense here over the Bears in a close one, realistically. The Raiders are just another team I'm hesitant on. Garoppolo's definition of a safe quarterback, but he doesn't, to me, have the upside to really maximize what else they have with Jacobs and specifically Devontae Adams in this offense. I think that Adams would benefit more from some going vertical in the passing game, but that I don't think will be the case with Garoppolo here. And the Broncos, I think, will be back in contention this year. I don't have them making the playoffs, but I think they'll take a step up with what they have and Sean Payton coming over. So I'm going to take the Broncos here. They are the 4-point favorites. Could be a close one, but in my opinion, I think the Broncos take care of business here. I'm going to make a case that the Dolphins-Chargers is the hardest game to pick this week for me. I could see it going either way. This is another one where I'm just going to go with the feeling of an upset. You know, I think that the Dolphins have a strong roster defensively, and I think Tua will be decent this week. They have, some upsets historically that they've been able to make, but I think they just have the talent on offense with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill to make this thing happen. I do think the Chargers will take a huge step up this year. I think I had them winning 12 games this year. I think they could easily reach that. I just don't know if this week is the week. I have the Dolphins starting with this victory, but this could be a close one here. I really think that this is a balanced game, maybe the hardest to pick this week. So I'm going to go with the Dolphins, but that one could go either way. Perhaps the most shocking line to me this week is the Eagles only being favored by 4.5. We just saw some more news, maybe Juju Smith-Schuster is potentially having a bad knee situation for the Patriots, as well as I believe I saw Riley Reef is going on injured reserve. That's one of their tackles. The Eagles' defensive line is so good, and this is how they are in contention every year. They have fresh bodies on the defensive line to rotate in and out, and that's what you need, especially come playoff time. If there's one possession you need the most rotation in, it's that edge rush, that defensive line, and I think they have it here. So 4.5 actually seems pretty low to me. Specifically, I don't know about the Patriots' offense right now. Just got to see what happens with Mac Jones and that receiver core. But I'm going to go with the Eagles in that one. I think that they'll take care of business. Rams, Seahawks, this is one where the Rams have on paper a really not good roster, just a lot of unproven talent, defensively specifically, as well as Cooper Kupp's injury seems really, not good for them right now. Might be worse than we think it is. The Seahawks, though, I think are just an on paper better team. I have to go with them, but I'll tell you, there's something about just a Sean McVay coach team that without Stafford or somebody else getting injured this year like it was last year, I'm thinking I don't see the Rams not winning some close games, but in this one, to be safe, I think I have to go with the Seahawks. But really, I just question the Rams roster right now, and that's why I have to pick against them. Although Sean McVay will lead a good coach team. He's a solid coach. Cowboys, Giants. I think the Giants will be the biggest drop down of any team this year. I think they will take the biggest step back. So with that, I'm going to go with the Cowboys. We'll see how play calling and everything works for them offensively, but on paper, I just like their roster more. And the Giants, I just need to see a little bit more. I just don't know if what they did in this offseason is enough to really propel them. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys in that matchup. Really, I am excited to see, though, who that top receiver for the Giants is, especially for fantasy purposes. I think it will be Isaiah Hodgins, who really at the end of last year stepped up. He came out of Oregon State and fell in the draft a number of years ago, went to Buffalo. But I think it's going to be a story of, those receivers versus the Cowboys corners, which now they have Diggs and Gilmore, as well as the Cowboys receivers versus kind of a young group of Giants corners. And to close it out, we have the Bills and the Jets. Very close game. Could see this going either way. I'm just feeling I believe in the Jets this season. At home as well, and the underdogs. I got to throw some underdogs in there. I'm going to go with the Jets here. I could also see them starting slow. I like the Bills. I've made the mistake of picking the Bills a little too much in the last maybe 3 years, for sure 2 years. And so for now, I think that Aaron Rodgers to Garrett Wilson will be a great combination. Did they need Dalvin Cook? No, but with the health, concern of Breece Hall, I like them bringing in Dalvin Cook. And really, Quinn Williams, I think defensively will be an X factor. But the number one thing I'm excited to watch in this game will actually be Stephon Diggs versus Sauce Gardner. Whoever wins that matchup may be key to what team wins that game. So those are my picks for this week. All the teams I think are going to win are on the right. I do just straight up pick who I think will win the games. I put the spreads up to get an idea of who's the favorite, to know if I am picking against who is the favorite, picking an underdog, but I don't go into that in these videos. But with that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. Welcome back to the NFL season. Let's keep it going, and I'll see you in the next one.